is their biggest advantage and that they need to not get rid of.
Well, we will see how it all unfolds as we are now into the picks and bans coming down. Surprise, surprise, GMU and Zach. Olaf out on the side of A&M.
Where's Skarner?
Oh, he's coming
Corky.
up next.
Corky is a very logical band.
Got to keep that one up. Scar will make his way in here. I'm almost certain of it. Zaya as well. Probably going to be hitting the dirt before all is said and done, leading into an early potential Tom Kench coming out from Ion. You heard it here first. And the band's taking their time. Maybe
taking a little time.
Some things on A&M. You know, do they give over a big old mid laner? Mid laner's been waiting to the end of the game. But you start the band early, no, you just take Zaya out. Okay, we talked about that one.
You know,
now we're expecting Skarner and Swain.
Yeah, Swain, Skarner, those have been mainstays, even Kaisa, but that's usually in the second round ban. You know, there actually is a slight strategy to holding out your ban and even your picks to the very last second, because it gives your the next pick, the next enemy pick, less time to think about. Like, so if you hover them and pick them at, say, like 20 seconds, it gives them a little bit of time because you're hovering it. Because, I mean, that's just what happens. Unless you just quick pick it like that, then get sent over. But if you wait till that very last second, there's so many different theories that can go through your head, and there's so many different possibilities. But if you quick pick it at that last second and then put the pressure on and don't give them time to think about it, have to go over to the other side. Maybe Frank...
Braun ban tells me Tom. Okay, I knew Tom
had
either banned or it would have been first picked. So the Braun ban gave
Skarner!
Skarner priority, baby!
That's over to Firefly! That's going to be scary.
Yeah, no kidding. Sejuani's on the table. So is Glory's J4. We'll see which one of those two he wants to take. Because how do you answer this Skarner now? It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, this Sejuani, that would be a good choice. Skarner, he's so scary. Going to be taking that Predator. Going to be running right into the face of whoever he needs to. Now, this is something that Texas A&M can take advantage of. They know the game plan of George Mason. Skarner, he's one-dimensional. You know exactly what to expect from a Skarner. The object is now counter that. This is the first time that Glory has not played J4. He played J4 last game too. Yeah, he did. He played the semi.
All three games.
Yeah, he played the semi tank. He had a Randy Woods Omen, by the way, last game, which was perplexing. But given the orange, so they're creating a big front line over on the side of Texas A&M, and the more front line they build, the less that Skarner can get into that back line. The more he has to sift through everything. Now that would leave George Mason to possibly go for a pick instead of the actual outright team fight. We're gonna see what they pick in mid lane as the Morgana is locked in. Morgana, I do like the Morgana because that actually helps out Enrique's Jhin quite a bit, keeps him safe. A nice pickup if you don't have a Tom Kench or don't have a Braum.
It potentially nullifies a lot coming out of that Sejuani ultimate as well. One player getting the get out of jail free card with the Black Shield. Now we're going to see what likely AD or support is picked up now from the side of Texas A&M here. No, ladies and gentlemen, Swain is coming down. He got through. They knew there would be no chance he would get through the next round of ban, so they will take that one up out and away immediately. And that's pretty bold coming from the side of A&M. We talked about them adapting their strategy. This is all new material for this school thus far here in the first round of the picks. Now in the second round of bans, we'll see what they decide to target because it's solo lanes is the story coming out for George Mason University Patriots here.
Are they going to pick? Is this going to be a dodge? Okay, there it is. Who did that? They didn't pick. They didn't pick anybody.
It does not dodge you. We might be seeing a remake. Oftentimes that could just be a client-side issue. We'll see if that's the case. Actually going to message the players here just to make sure.
Yeah, Tarek was banned out. Boy Cold may be having some connection issues. We're going to see what happens here because that would be very interesting if he did not ban somebody out from George Mason, especially when you have a Nivea up, which was banned out. So I don't... This might be is this a mind game being played? Because I couldn't imagine.
They're saying it was supposed to be Rise, so they want a remake.
Okay, they're just gonna finish out their picks and bans, go with the second phase of bans, I guess, and then go with that. I'm assuming Nami also banned out. I wouldn't assume that Nami is actually the pick either. So yeah, we may just be having a remake.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll let you handle the other one. Communicate with them.
No, I'm sorry. I'm a little tied up. Just communicating this to them. I'll let them know the rules here. We'll be back into this as soon as possible.
No worries. Yeah, and I'm actually going to switch the cameras back onto us because I'm going to go ahead and start talking. while we do this one because we should be getting into that pretty soon. But yeah, the picks up into that point are going to be relatively, I think they're going to be the exact same with having the Swain picked up. Because the first ban phase was proper, everyone was there. The first pick phase was proper, everyone was there. So the Swain is going to go through, from my understanding. The Rike going to go on that Jin. Skarner also onto Firefly. We're back into pick and ban phase. So it should go relatively quickly here. But yeah, looks like, thank you for communicating, by the way, Corvus. But yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sorry, I
Gotta turn the mic back on.
Caught you off guard there, no worries.
No worries.
But yeah, it looks like, yeah, we're going with the exact same ban, so a little bit more to call here. There's actually a Skarner ban?
Guys, we can't change this up. Hang on. Yeah, no.
There we go. Yeah, mistake. Mistake was made there.
They knew it. They said it was a miscommunication.
Okay.
No worries. So we're getting it all back together.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it onto this on this screen because I'm sure they'll be in here just
so that's a lot of power you're giving the guys to have control of the chat box.
Oh yeah, well I'm just doing what I can.
It's all gone out and away. So pulling it back through. Should see this all coming very, very, very fast. Hopefully no Skarner bans.
Yeah, it should be the same bans as last time. As I said, the first phase of pick and ban went all the way through properly. The second phase, I would assume, be a little bit different. The Rise, obviously, I'm assuming needs to be banned. They said they were going to ban the Rise.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
Well, if they don't, we have a problem, right?
Yeah. I hope it doesn't come to that.
I mean, there's only so much authority that we, the casters, have to really communicate this stuff through as well. Like, we'd have to get an admin involved, and it would just become this big haha. And nobody wants that, least of all us. So, same picks coming through. Should be no thought even given over to it. We know this. They know this. They're all eager to get into game number 4.
Very much so, yeah.
Much as the same as you in the chat are, no doubt.
Yeah, these players are hitting fatigue.
Yeah, so look, it's past 10 p.m. on the East Coast where George Mason University is. So I know Texas is mostly Central Time. I don't know if any of that splashes into Mountain Time. I'd have to check the time zones. But it's either 8 or 9 p.m. there. This is not, the earliest time of day for these guys to be playing. And we want to give a big thank you, actually, to all the players involved for taking their time to play this one out in the evening. Tarek band coming through. If it's the Anivia, that means we're all just in the same good shape that we were.
Yeah.
It needs to be the Anivia. I'm surprised, actually, that they waited to the second round to ban it, but there you go. It was such trouble for them last time that I think even the first pick threat of it was pretty big. Now, I know there are counters out there, and I know that that's something potentially to be said for it.
Oh, the Nami was there. The Nami was official.
Yep, Nami is official.
All
indeed.
right.
They're just targeting Slurp. So, I mean, if you look at the board right now, there are 4 supports off the table that Slurp could play. 5 once you count in Morgana.
Exactly.
So this is potentially his 6th pick.
Gonna see Leona? Are we gonna see a Leona in this game? That'd be interesting.
That would be holy indeed.
Leona, you're not gonna go Sona, that's for sure. You could go to offensive support and Brand, but I mean, you have Morgana down there. That's not a big thing either. That's the thing too. Morgana also counters slightly the Leona, so you have some real thinking to do. Victor, I did expect that one because that was not banned out this time around. And again, control mage in the mid lane for George Mason has been their strong point. Trundle, that's going to be at the top lane.
Hello, Ion on the Trundle, trying to put this one to bed. He played Ornn last time. He knows how the matchup works. Now he's starting to get a little excited. Okay, yeah, been waiting for this one. Not too worried. And this is his answer into that, so we'll see how it pans out. Now, it is the support pick, finally, barring any weird support Swain or Ornn nonsense coming through.
Janna makes total sense. There you go.
Yep. A worthwhile enemy, an opponent most supreme here in the bot lane. So compositions, not what we would expect. Not a single old champion, repeated champion from the side of A&M right now in this game. They're changing up the strategy entirely. It's a little bit of a rerun from what we saw out of George Mason, route on that Victor. Enrique playing Jhin again. It's definitely been his strongest throughout the series, and that the only Jhin game he did not play was the one thus far that he has lost. Skarner on Firefly, been banned the entire time. I'm excited to see that one come through. I'm excited to see Morgana make this one happen. The tanky options no longer on support. Alex has to do something a little different there So we'll see what this potential playmaking ability comes through from Alex instead of necessarily just the support engage peel tank.
Exactly. And Jana is such a good pick into both Trundle and Skarner. They don't have any gap closers. You can tornado them, just walk away, and you're fine. You also have Monsoon to work with if you wanted to go that route. It is so nice having a Jana on your side when you have these champions like Trundle and Skarner who excel at just running right into your face and beating you with whatever appendage they can throw at you. Skarner, his claw, of course. Trundle, you might as well call that big ice glacial his arm as an appendage because it never leaves his side unless he dies.
No.
But
Yeah.
Janna, such a good pick. Very nice by the Holy Slurp, taking those tanks away from the bot side, but also making them a little bit more safe, making them the supports that really protect your ADCs. That's not Tom Kinch, so that's a really
No.
nice adaptation on the bot side for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, so it makes sense from the side of A&M. They tried to first pick it out in a way to deny it from Alex. Didn't really work that well for them. So then they tried to just ban it, and we'll see if that one comes through and if that's what sticks to get Holy Slip onto something. Now it is at that adaptive play coming out from the side of GMU. They see this and they say, oh, no. We're not going to let that happen. We're going to ban you out as retribution. So Ion, going to bat for Alex there, making sure that vengeance shall be had. So all in all, it's a much different game than we've cast thus far, Fekez, and it's going to be one I'm interested to see happen, just because we've been going through the mental fatigue of this. Okay, this is the fourth game out of potentially 5, and you can tell after that third game the players themselves are getting a little tired, worn down, some basic mistakes happening there. I don't know if they didn't click the rise in time, if that was a client bug, that either one could have happened. Hello, but either way, this is all very, very tense situation. I'm actually surprised they opted for the Rise ban, unless that's something that Route is just really into. Leaving Victor on the table when we know that's something that he can not only play, but play well, and it fits his style thus far.
Yeah.
Leaves me with some questions that will be answered when we get into game. In the meantime, I have a little bit of information to share with you all. I've been making Josh bear the burden of some of these fun announcements, but I'm going to take it back over this time out and around to give him a little break there. If you want to keep up with the C-Star League and what we're doing, get your school a little bit more involved, Discord is a great way to do that. You can hit !Discord in the chat to keep up with everything. And I do mean everything we are doing here at C-Star League. It's a great way to just make sure that you don't miss out on any of the esports fun, not just league-related esports. Speaking of esports, twitter.com/C-Star League. Keep up with all our esports endeavors. And if you do just want league content, that's fine. I feel you, truly, right here. You can find us twitter.com/CSLLOL for all of your collegiate league needs. I want to give a huge shout out to Twitch, say nothing but gratitude for the largest streaming platform in all of competitive gaming to support our collegiate esport endeavors. I want to thank them deeply from the bottom of our hearts, from events like PAX East and West that we are involved with. Nothing what C-Star League does would be what it is without their continued help and support. So a major shout out to them. Check out what they're doing on facebook.com/Twitch, twitter.com/Twitch. And if you can't watch us live, head on over to youtube.com/user/C-Star League to make sure you never miss a game. With that, I think I missed the Facebook. Our Facebook, facebook.com/C-Star League. That one is there just to keep up with everything we're doing if you aren't already plugged in enough. And finally, the casters. My name is Kyle Corvus Crow, joined at the desk today by Joshua Fekez Quest. You can find our Twitters by hitting !Casters into the Twitch chat there. Get a little link. Tell us how we can improve. Tell us how much you love or hate us. All of it we welcome with open arms.
I don't really embrace hate that much, honestly. I'll be completely 100%.
Oh, I love it. I ride the wave.
I don't mind criticism, though. So if you have something not hateful but productive, feel free to tell me. More than happy to adapt, change my style. Always willing to learn. No, of course, no problem. One thing I'm really interested to see, though, I want to talk about this game. I didn't get to talk about this mid lane that much. I've been talking about route, control mages, of course. Let's talk about Swain. First game I've got to cast with Swain. Since he's been reworked, he is very powerful. He can be very powerful. He actually has a lot in his kit to work with right now. He has kind of a deep ward that's temporary. It's like an eye. It actually does a lot of damage, but it is you do get the vision wherever you cast it. Is a long range attack on the a long range cast on his E, and it again Does damage, gives vision. It also takes out soul fragments if you hit people with it. Let me talk about soul fragments for a bit. This is actually going to be me breaking down Swain since we haven't seen him on the Rift.
Yeah,
Since
let's just go with it.
yeah, soul fragments. So he actually rips out soul fragments from CC champions. You have the option of doing that. That heals him. It also creates stacks on him. I think you can stack up 5 soul fragments, I believe, 5 or 6, 5 of them. I see the dots right underneath them, and that plays into his ultimate. The ultimate is it's similar to how it used to be, where you cast it. You have the AOE circle of crows getting, or you taking life from other people, giving it to yourself. But now it has something called Supernova, where you can it charges up based on how much you've drained, and then it explodes and amplifies based on how many souls you've also taken. So that is why the souls are very important for Swain, and that move right there, able to root you and displace you forward. Huge plays can be made by your jungler and Swain if that's being able to land. If you can land that on an enemy while you're being ganked, while you're working with your jungler to help gank, very advantageous if you can root them and then displace them forward. Very crucial to land that W. That's Swain in a nutshell. Yeah. And of course, his Q is on a very low cooldown wave clear, which we'll get to that in a moment if it's going to be brought up. I'll talk about it soon. I've been rambling about Swain, though. Let's move on to something else.
That's honestly, we could just fix the camera onto Route and Mr. Black Panda and see how it goes. We'd still have such an interesting series.
Very much so, yeah.
A lot of pressure on the junglers, too, though, because I feel like I'm just as interested in Firefly now. Hang on a second. We got some top lane action and some smackdown going on. A little bit of pressure. Ion first to that level 2, and gives Boycold a good old headache for it.
Ion taking the Conqueror, by the way, taking the Conqueror rune, which means after 3 seconds of engagement, he does get that true damage, that 20% true damage auto attack, which is crucial because I believe his Q counts as an auto attack. The bite, pretty sure that counts as an auto attack as well.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed that. That's insane.
I feel like it does. Don't quote me on that. It's a new mechanic. I haven't quite tested it, but it does keep
everybody in chat. I want you to quote Josh on that right now.
I am very quotable in many things.
Sorry, I'm just giving you a hard time. I really don't even know why. I'm having so much fun with this series. I think that it's
a good series. It's been very fun.
It's been outstanding thus far. I mean, I'm really impressed with George Mason. I'm really impressed with Texas A&M and the way that they have adapted to these strategies. I mean, both teams have been so strategically minded and adapted. It's really fun to watch.
Very much so. And this bot lane has been huge for George Mason. Enrique able to pop off on the Jhin twice now, looking to do it a third time. Has a different support this time around. Actually had the Tahm Kench and the Braum so far, but Alex on Morgana, a little bit different of a play style. Very anxious to see how that one works out. Can protect them very well from Janna knockups. Anything like any sort of ganks, especially Glacial Prison once that comes online. So be looking for Alex to still be protecting Enrique, being that faithful support that he's been thus far. It's huge, helping Enrique stay alive and protect his KDA. Has yet to die on Jhin.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild, actually. Enrique has just been such a strong Jhin player. And I don't necessarily see him in that much trouble to the idea of a Janna Ezreal. I mean, there's a lot of poke on that lane, but I don't think if he is going to die in this game, it likely won't be in the laning phase here. We'll see whether or not a good old gank from Glory could come by. Now, we passed a lot of time already as Glory's level 4, level 6 on Sejuani. No slouch when it comes to ganking, especially onto a lot of these champions that may have a harder time getting away. None of them are all too mobile with any hop, skips, jumps, or any sorts of displacements there. So we'll see what all comes of that. Still just a farm fest for Firefly. It's not unexpected, but...
Okay, and I want to point out real quick, Trundle's Bite, it's Q. It's actually an auto attack empowerment, so it does count as an auto attack.
Insane.
Yeah.
So that really does feed well then into the Conqueror's enchantment. I wonder if we won't see Trundle become a little bit more meta top to bottom with all of this be borne in mind. And look at that, the displacements there, landing the nice Swain ability, but Route definitely getting the better of the trade just to slap damage on back. Or as I look at the health bars now, they seem a little even, so maybe some things we didn't see.
Yeah.
As the camera shifts back down to the bot lane, wanting to make sure we don't miss a second of this action down here.
I want to go back to the mid lane. I'm going to talk about Swain just for a second more. Whenever you land that displacement, you can actually combo that into the E to do a bunch of, a big amount of burst damage along with the... Oh, hold on.
Oh, that's pretty big. They've got her. I think that's going to be a kill.
Very
First
nice
blood indeed
catch.
does come down now. Potentially Route in some trouble here. Flashes to get out of that one, but it is only over his wall. Doesn't matter. It's enough. And look at that. GMU coming out with first blood again. They found quite a few for themselves this series, and they've been pushing out hard. But to get Holy Slurp down on the back foot on that Janna, I feel is huge.
Yeah, on the Janna, but also underneath their own underneath Texas A&M's tower. That is really huge. Nice play by Alex, landing that Dark Binding. Nice follow-up by Enrique. The chemistry between Enrique and Alex is pretty uncanny. They have been on point together this entire series without fail. They have been by far the most consistent lane for George Mason. And they've been doing extremely well, protecting each other and just playing off each other's strengths and weaknesses. Very nicely played, and we saw another example of that underneath Texas A&M's turret before 6 minutes. That happened before 6 minutes, which is not something you usually see.
Very much the case, yeah. I mean, it's born off the back of some distance play. These champions both have some range to their ability, and we've seen Enrique playing the range of this AD Jhin very well throughout the course of this series. We've not seen Alex playing too much range potential, but to nail the downtown binding and then to follow up on it so well, it really does speak to, gives this player some credit just as far as the mechanical ability there. I think it's quite impressive. So really a ringing endorsement for Alex's play this series. He's been outstanding. That said, is it enough? They got the first blood. It went over to the hands of Morgana. That's going to mean some boots and some mana items. That's all well and good. How do you turn it into more? Because I doubt we're going to see too much jungle aggression still as Firefly hits level 6, but he's just on the farming warpath. Just wants to get every little bit of jungle CS he can. And no big ganks coming out just yet. So with the bruisers in the top side and the control mages in the mid, it seems like we're just buckling down for another game that's not going to start getting too spicy until around the 15-minute mark in this series thus far.
That played very well into George Mason's hands, though. You might want to wonder if Texas A&M want that, but at the same time, Swain early game, he's not incredibly strong. He gets extremely powerful mid to late game, but early game, he has the displacement. Hold on. Gage on the top side.
The Forge God's coming down. Yeah, Ion's going to get knocked up there. He's pretty low already.
Firefly's on the way.
He's popped this ultimate already, and he's just shredding through Boykold. Boykold doesn't care, finds the fight towards the end there, and gets the last chunk of health. Burst down. Firefly with the stun up, has a suppress as well. We'll take it for good measure. Drags him through the minions in the mud, and Firefly's going to get himself the kill to return it there. So it is the 1v1 loss for Ion, but they turn it back around, and they know that Firefly's on the top side, so it's the Ocean Drake potential coming out through, not going to get stolen away. So Texas A&M going to get some nice opportunistic play to take that dragon out.
And that is the first one going over to Texas A&M. That is the Ocean Drake, which is going to help them with these fights and the resets, which played so well into their favor in game number 2. Not due to the Ocean Drake, but actually the way everything was built with the Warmogs and just, again, resetting team fights. But if they decide to go that route again, that could be something that they can use with the Ocean Drake even more so, because, of course, that is the traditional team fight reset dragon, as it does give the extra, or the recovery for, hold on, Route, got some fancy footwork there. Flashes his mastery, very nice. But yeah, of course, Ocean Drake does get revive, restore mana and health as you're out of combat. Took me too long to get that out, Corvus. I'm going to hand it back to you, recover myself.
Yeah, that's A-okay. I'm happy to do it. It's what I'm here for. So, all in all, top to bottom, I mean, we got a flash coming in. Alex wants to find that. It's a really good ultimate from Janna to save the day, but enough shots from Jhin, and that will take it out. One more should do it, and
not
just
gonna get it,
but didn't happen. The minion wave is here. How far down do they push into the depths of this? Because I think they just take the tower damage. Glory is here, and could potentially come over the wall to cause some headaches. Yes, there it is, Enrique, not expecting that in the slightest. And with the Black Shield will get out, but this is very dangerous territory for Alex now. He's likely going to go down here on this Morgana, not going to get away, and Chuck Norvis finds his first kill in a while, and that's going to feel pretty good. First of the game, and going to be stacking that man immune.
But look at Route, he's trying to cut off Black Panda.
Yeah, he wants it. We'll see how much, because Black Panda now at level 9, just hitting that. Route doesn't stand a chance. Are you kidding me? Black Panda doing his damnedest to push this down to a 5th game call. The Forge God doesn't get in on the Ion in time. The answer is no. Boycold goes down for that one. We're stuck 3-3. Anytime a kill goes down, it must be traded back over. This is Newton's 4th law applicable to this League of Legends game.
Yeah, he didn't think that one up underneath a tree either. He was hard at work in his lab, and that is why it took so long for it to actually be invented. That's why you're just now hearing about it. Newton, thank you very much, you physics god. And that is exactly what happened this time around, as we did see team fights going, or not team fights, but just fights going all over. Enrique trying to get sniped there, more like Chuck Normus trying to snipe Enrique. Not going to happen, but Ione, very quick tower on that top side. He already has the Tiamat to help him push and use that to his full advantage.
Yeah, very much. I mean, first tower of the game, gonna feel great. Huge CS lead, also gonna feel great. It's a pretty good time to be Ione if you are in this series. That said, how does Boycold return? So it's his first foray into the Ornn. We saw Ione play it pretty damn well last time around. We'll see if Boycold can answer that one back. Did not work. And Holy Slurp tried to take away the champion of Alex, but, you know, different role, different potential there. Now gonna force a flash. That's really early from Black Panda. Knew that there was some potential trouble coming out from Firefly. Maybe didn't know that Firefly didn't have flash up, so just holding off, and that's all well and good. It's okay, the resets will come through, but you know, they have to find an answer for A&M now. They're playing around this bot side pretty well, and it's working for them. But you know, top's only going to get worse and worse for the likes of Boycold as Ione is starting to come online just a bit more. Bramble Vest is there, and hey, that's great, but I don't think it's enough.
It is not, that is for sure. And now you're seeing Ione, he has the Tiamat, he has the offensive stats to take on Boycold if he wants to, but now Ione is building defensive stats to counter anything that Boycold can actually throw back, and that including the Bramble Vest passive does get reduced by the Spectral Cal as well from Ione, so very nice pickup by Ione. He's, yeah, like you said, not going to be enough, but this might be.
Yeah, that's going to be flash in, call the Forge God down, and now Ione in some real trouble here. His team is trying to get in to save him, but there is a lot they have to do to make it happen, and Firefly thinks better of that one. Says, sorry, dude, can't help you this time around. Maybe next time, but that puts Swain up to 2-0-0.
Do not want that if you're George Mason.
Ooh, Binding hits under the tower. That's going to be stopwatch used. Coming out now, so tower does not go down. They didn't want to take the last shot. That's okay. Next wave, that's another tower down now. Favor for George Mason. It's only a matter of time at this point. And Skarner off in the wings. They know it. They don't want Firefly to get anywhere near them, and so that means their tower's gone down. But now Black Panda trying to get on Firefly. Enormous in some trouble. He thought he was alone in that jungle for too long. He uses the ultimate just for good measure. Hey, why not? But all the same, Chuck Normus taken down to about half health. Tower gone down. It's still favor for George Mason, but they're starting to slouch a little bit in this kill game. Whew. Everyone's just taking their time to breathe here.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I definitely was. Sorry about that.
No, not you, the players too. I mean, honestly,
yeah. Well,
that's the flow of the game, baby. That's what we do here.
It's interesting. I don't know what Firefly was doing in the enemy jungle on that side. Anyways, there was no tower that he had to worry about, but there was definitely members of Texas A&M over there. You had to think about that one for sure. But this is something that George Mason needs to wrap up by the mid game, is that they keep getting caught. Now they are winning because the gold rush because of the 2 turrets they've got, but every time they get caught, that's a little bit more power on the side of Texas A&M, and they scale so well, especially with this Swain. He is going to come on. He's actually already online. He has a Rod of Ages before 15 minutes. He has 5 stacks on his Dark Seal. They need to not feed any more over to Texas A&M. And need to start setting up these team fights and getting these lanes under control, because getting caught is not the game plan you want.
No, certainly not the case. I honestly have to say I like Glory on this Sejuani a lot more than some of the Jarvan play we've seen thus far. Not all of it, but a good portion. 30-40% of some of the Jarvan play. I think Take Jarvan worked really well, but in games 1 and 3, that Jarvan, I like this Sejuani a little more. So, Glory been playing the supportive tank pretty well. The only member of his team without a kill, but those 2 assists will feel pretty good. Yes, even Holy Slurp on that Janna has a kill.
Oh, they finally got him. Oh, that's pretty.
Trouble. Suppressed. Yeah, goodbye. There's no chance he gets out of this one in one piece. He's going to get taken out. They do try to call in the cavalry, but I don't think it's going to matter. Ornn with the call of the Forge God to get things going down as Voidcold wants to get into this fight. We'll see. They're going to find him anyway. Rout's not too worried about that one, and it's a nice snare now up onto Holy Slurp. This could be bad, but the beat is there from Glory to keep things all A-okay. You cannot, perchance, say the same for the tower here, and that one will get chunked out pretty hard thanks to Firefly's presence, and they're going to keep pushing through. But this should be all things disengaging, as now George Mason even up the kills and take their third tower of the game.
Yeah, very nice turnaround by George Mason. They got a little bit caught out, but really, again, able to turn that around. Actually, I say that Mr. Black Panda got caught out, but looked like that Texas A&M we're going to turn that around. And then once again, it got turned around. So a lot of turnarounds on that exchange, but it did go in the favor of George Mason. He's able to pick up that mid lane turret and the Drake, their first one of the game. It's a Cloud Drake, but you have to get through that Cloud Drake to get to the next Drake, and that next Drake could be a little bit better. I'm actually going to scroll down here.
It's another Cloud Drake.
Yeah, it's another, well, you know, we can't all have cookies and cake. Sometimes we just get cake. So that's exactly what George Mason is going to settle for here.
2 Cloud Drakes, though, is better than 1 Cloud Drake, and so. makes it feel, you know, really good. So we'll see whether or not they decide to go for that one. This game, you know, we've been seeing these games go the distance. It's very clear who takes the lead, and usually who we've seen take the lead early has gone on to win the game. So I feel in this case, if we're following that same format, you know, the momentum, the pressure is in the hands of George Mason. Now, it's not all doom and gloom for the side of A&M yet. They have the Swain that scales very well into this. The Ezreal for Chuck Norris is getting a little bit more questionable, but if he can just play, you know, the Blue Ezreal utility style of just Iceborne spamming Qs all over the place, then no, Black Panda should be able to deal out the damage, whilst Ornn and Glory provide the top, or front line, I should say, not top line.
It's a Rift Herald!
No, it's not. They're just teasing me.
Jesus.
Skarner just want, I mean, they can't, right?
They're going to do it!
I think it's not allowed at this point.
Game number 4 is a dream. Here we go.
Oh, boy,
they're backing off.
Yep, no, not quite. At least they acknowledged it, right? But that almost feels even worse. It's like they're backing down from their principles.
Very much so. It looks like a nice catch. What's going to happen out there? Holy Slurp. This is such a great catch team that George Mason has drafted. We have a little bit of a skirmish going on. Here we go.
Yeah. Now, talk about a skirmish. We got one breaking out here in the top side jungle. Going to be rolling through. And Janna, somebody you don't want to end up in jungle corridors against too well, so they know that. They're respecting that. And George Mason is playing patiently around that. We'll see if they do revert now to the Rift Herald again. And the red buff of Texas A&M has just come up. So
they're doing it. They're backing off. All right.
They are. There's mid lane pressure coming out. A lot of priority from A&M. So we'll see whether or not they back everybody out to take that. I think that's the yes. They just keep on finding picks. I mean, at least they're talking about the Rift Herald. I'll give them that.
So George Mason, again, their draft is so good for picking. You land a Dark Binding, you're going to get hit with 2 or 3 other things. You get hit with anything, really, you're going to be hit with 2 or 3 other things. There's a Gravity Well, there's a Dark Binding, there's the Root from Jhin. Not to mention, you could even throw a pillar into place and just make someone's life really hard. And, of course, you do have the stun from Firefly Skarner, along with, of course, the Stinger.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise for the first Rift Herald of the series.
Game number 4. What is this?
Yeah, you know what? Better late than never. But look at that. Glory says better all in than not at all. And we'll see whether that comes down or not. A lot of health missing, but the Janna ultimate might keep things okay. Not the same to be said for Janna. God. Unfortunately, Firefly flashing out. And Glory does go down with a little bit of help from the mid lane tower. Gotta have that one doing damage. We cannot overestimate the potential there. Now Rout is in some trouble. That's going to get knocked up, and Voidcold getting Alex on the back of things too means that it's actually just a 2 for 2 thus far, and they're trying to salvage the fight pretty heavily from the side of A&M. But look at this, Ion's going in. He could be in some trouble. Chuck Norris wants to get their Rift Heralds popped. Are you kidding me?
What is happening?
I am not sure, but I love every second of it, Fekez. They're going to keep pushing this one out. They'll take the Rift Herald down. And it's baby steps. At least we got one this game. It's not going to do anything, but it's there.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Pog champ.
I'm assuming that was a misclick. Possibly a word was supposed to be placed, and then they realized they had it, and they didn't want to cancel it, so it just sort of happened. There's no reason to pop the Rift Herald there. You actually have it in your inventory for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's set on a timer based on the game, but rather how much it's in your inventory. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I'm assuming that's just a misplay, a misclick. thinking that you had a ward in your pocket. But man, what a sloppy team fight from all sides. I thought there were so many flashes blown in that after all that happened and both teams backed up, there was almost no way to really make another big play. Alex even misstepped, got hit by the Call of the Forge God when he was actually alive with a very slight sliver of health. Could not back out of that one, could not sidestep fast enough. Very sloppy team fight from both sides, and really nothing was gained. The kills are even.
Yeah, it's just going back to that fourth wall. 7-7. Gotta stick there.
Yeah, that's essentially it.
I mean, I don't have a better reason for it. Certainly
no.
not down to
Thank you,
down to gameplay and minute execution coming out all over. Minutin. Ooh, I like it. What I don't like is A&M's wave control right now. They really need to find a way to get this back into their hands because they have some good control champions and some good wave clear potential, but George Mason's just keeping that pressure up, and it's allowing them to get these ward lines ever advancing and find those opportunities when towers present themselves on kills. So, gotta buff that back out just a little bit.
And the minion count not even huge right now. It Trundle, Ion rather.
Wow.
He's actually leading in minion count right now. This game is odd. Had the Rift Herald taken, it popped prematurely. Team fights going both ways. We're staying even in kills. This is probably the most competitive game, if anything, because both teams are making some pretty big mistakes. But I do want to pick out Texas A&M. They still do have the big scaling team comp with Swain in that mid lane.
Oh, here comes the potential to engage. They don't find Enrique thanks to the Black Shield, and now Glory rooted up, suppressed. The teleport's coming through, though, and that'll buy some very big amounts of time. Doesn't matter. Glory's already down. Call of the Forge got down as well. Knocks up Firefly. Gets in now onto Route as well, but Firefly's dead for sure. Route not long behind him, and Ion, the next target, will get down immediately. Taken out and away. They find one kill, but it costs them their entire top half of the map as only Enrique and Alex stand now to try to hold this tower out. I don't think they're going to be able to. Potentially the Baron, however, coming out from the side of A&M. It's 22 minutes, and it's aggressive without their jungler, but they think they can do it.
Very much so. Both junglers are down. This an early Baron has kind of been the staple of this entire series. We've seen early Barons in every game, this time being executed by Texas A&U, or at least engaged on by Texas A&U. Gonna see Texas A&M. Sorry, I'm going to mix with Tamu here, but we have a catch possibly.
Enrique wants
he has
to
no
turn
ult.
This one back. Look at the Ignite. Ignite was recently buffed. It might find the damage it needs. No, the heals are there all the same, and Enrique on the run. The teleport draws a line in the sand there, and we'll see if A&M want to cross it. It's Ion, and they say we are not worried in the slightest. Black Panda takes some damage, but it's so negligible. Doesn't matter. Now they bought time off the Baron. This is still likely Cloud Drake coming out for A&M. This is Wave Recovery coming out for A&M. This is gold, much needed, back into their coffers. And a 4-kill advantage. A&M have laid down a statement that they are not to be trifled with in the team fight.
No, and it's hitting that mid-game where Mr. Black Panda is huge. 5-1-5 right now, has Leandries and a full stacked Rod of Ages as well. So he is looking pretty happy on his side of the map. He also is building into that Zhonya's, just help out with his ultimate. And let's keep in mind his ultimate does do a lot of AoE damage and AoE burst with that supernova once he is able to explode it. And when you're in team fights, it takes such a short amount of time to be able to burst that Nova. It is working out so well for Mr. Black Panda. Very excited to see our Swain in this game, and we're seeing how effective it is. We're seeing why it is banned thus far. Boy Cold starting with a huge amount of armor, just with the Frozen Heart and the Thorn Mail. Sorry about that. But with that said, no health on his side. So if he gets caught, he is going to be bursted down by Route. We have a pause. That's surprising, but it's happening quite a few times in this series as well.
Yeah, good old lag. Nothing to say about that except, well, that it's there. I think this happened in the first game. Chuck Normus was the one reporting it. This time around, Ion, the one to claim lag happening to him this time around. We'll take him at his word for that one. Taking stock of just the scoreboard here in the pause. We got 5, 1, and 5 into the pocket of Mr. Black Panda. Pocket, the key word is this is definitely a pocket pick for the guy, and if this keeps going the way of the scaling Swain and Texas A&M managed to win this game out, you have to wonder just how everyone's going to feel about that fifth game that's just looming on the horizon if Texas A&M do pull through.
Yeah, they are pulling into their power slot very comfortably. If they can keep this up, they can bring this game into our series into a game number 5. But there is a lot to say so far on the side of George Mason. Victor, he scales very well. Now, the thing is that Swain, he does a lot of damage, a lot of upfront damage, and he does a lot of has a lot of sustain, something that Route does not have. So that's something that needs to keep in mind. Need to position properly. Route's deaths thus far have been due, the last 2 have been due to poor positioning. The first one, of course, was 1v1ing Black Panda when he can't really do that. But if he can position himself properly, could make a big impact in these team fights. And remember, George Mason, they have 2 AP champions, 2 full AP damage sources. Alex, once he gets going, he will be a big amount of AP damage also. That is something to consider as well. Ion, though, he needs to be careful and act more of a front line because he has 4 deaths, and a lot of those are just him over-engaging.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely thought after that 1v1 that he took out on Boy Cold, hey, now I'm the best threat in the game and I can do whatever I want. Quickly humbled, Kendrick Lamar style, coming out from the team fight that was just so readily there and available from the side of Texas A&M. Now, pressure still in the hands of GMU. Gold advantage still in the hands of GMU. It's only the kills over the side. Now, that Ocean Drake sustain, pretty big, all things considered, for the side of A&M. It is another Cloud Drake coming up on the docket, and look at that. The Black Shield was not there in time.
He finally died.
In a lot of trouble. He does go down on Jin. They break the record, and now Holy Slurp gets a kill in over onto Alex just to take things down. So this is not what you want if you are George Mason. Their pick composition is now getting picked on pretty heavily in Ion. Trying to keep moving in onto Baycold, but he's not doing the damage he needs to. He's taking a lot more than he's dishing out right now. I know Trundle is one of those champions where suddenly the health bar just goes the other way and starts reversing, but with the call of the Forge God, we'll see if that one comes down through or not. Trundle is right on it. Ion wants it, but will he go under the tower? Route trying to stop up this Baron. Chuck Normus flashing over the wall, actually.
Oh, he's going to get the kill.
Happen, but he's going to die. Look at that happen. Now Black Panda's low as well with the backline Skarner potentially being there. If he can lock this up,
he survived.
Maybe. But the answer is no. No,
Regardless.
not yet. And the Barons held off. Now Ion went back off of that one. Boy Cold as well. No issues there. So all priority being funneled around this Baron station. And we'll see who does come away the better team for it, because all in all, it's getting to be very
precarious
for both of these sides, and this Baron could decide the fate of not only the game, but
oh my gosh,
the series.
I don't agree with this one whatsoever. This is so risky.
Oh boy, can you make it happen? They say no, the health bars aren't there. Alex and Firefly take both those, taking down to half health. Gotta be careful.
Yeah,
now with the backs, I mean, Chuck Normus isn't there in time to return anything onto this, but you know, there's some pings on the mid lane tower. The wave pressure is there, and I don't know if Ion can hold if they decide to try something. It looks like it'll just be the backs. It's getting like late in a boxing match. It's when both guys are just throwing punches at each other so hard, they're so tired, they're grappling up together, and no one knows who's going to land that next soccer. I feel like that's what's happening in this series right here and now, is both of these teams showing very obvious signs of fatigue as we're late now into the 4th game. 27 minutes, 28 really, no slouch of time. Obviously, it's still the mid-game, but in the global context of time, it is a good amount to spend, especially all these games going well over 30 minutes.
Yeah, very much
Everybody just has to be quite worn down by now.
Yeah, fatigue is definitely a factor in these sorts of best of 5s, especially with pressure on from a semi-final match. That is something that most teams are not too familiar with. George Mason, though, they are familiar with it. Texas A&M, they are familiar with it, though. But unless you do it consistently, you don't really build up to that sort of stamina. And you can see that, again, kind of taking a toll here. But a sneaky Baron being attempted. But it looks like it's spotted out.
Indeed, their awards, it is pinged down, so they know it, and I don't think that they actually want to keep pushing through on the side of George Mason. This seems like some sort of diversion tactic, although I couldn't tell you for what, as their bot lane is still just chewing through. Now look at this, Glory and Black Panda on the other side of that Baron wall. People keep funneling in toward that area. This could be one of those long, extended Baron draw out fights that just goes on forever, but when it does finally happen, the game is over because they don't realize that death timers have slowly creeped up into the 60-second area. Happens way more often than you think, but we'll see whether or not that's the case. That's the storyline here because it's just a lot of tension thus far that's not amounting to much.
Yeah, those death timers should already be in about the 40-second mark, 35 at least. So the death timers are still very relevant now, but yeah, like you said, all this dancing, kind of let it go, let the time get away from you, and by the time the next team fight happens, somebody dies, 60 seconds later, they're up, and that's something you don't want to have to deal with so much. But this Baron has been forced so much by both sides. It looks like there's so much contention. It looks like it might be pressured once again, but Mr. Black Panda throwing out very, like I said, that E is a very long range, so he can scout out very easily, not to mention do damage when he's not even in the team fight with his E, as long as he can, as long as people stay inside of it, which is the tricky part. But if they do, it is a lot of damage. And now, Texas A&M, seeing that there's a little reprieve around the Baron. Now they're going to go clear, try to get the advantage. Route, I don't think he can duel Black Panda yet.
Yeah, no, gotta be careful the way you play this one out. And it's not just Black Panda that he's
everybody.
He's trying to buy some time here for the rest of his team.
Oh, is he gonna get it?
Around the Baron or what? No, doesn't find it. And Ion will find this Cloud Drake. Boycold wants to get in and do the damage to that one. He's making Ion take this Cloud Drake damage as well. And the Call of the Forge God not gonna hold up. Ion finally finds the dragon. That could have been devastating otherwise if it all was for naught. But this is potentially the pinch coming in. Boyko wants to come in, find it. Firefly is the target. Will he be able to find enough time for the rest of the team to get there? Looks like the answer is yes.
They got him.
As Glory gets over the wall, and Firefly is going to get put in a jar. They're going to forget to punch any air holes in it. And that means the Baron is coming through now for Texas A&M. They will secure that one, barring a wild steal or some excellent preventative play. But by and large, this looks like Texas A&M are punching their ticket to a 5th game here if they manage this Baron.
The Baron is what they've been wanting this entire time. It's taken a little while to go, but nobody's there to contend it. And it looks like George Mason, they're just going to take advantage and take out the inner mid lane turret, give themselves a little bit of map control.
It's something. I mean, it definitely, you have to do something there, and at least they're not going gentle into that good night. They still have the gold advantages. George Mason have taken 4 towers. A&M have yet to answer a single tower. Now, hopefully, with a Baron, that luck will change.
I think they're going to get it this time.
Yeah, I think they got mid, no contest. I don't even think with Routes way clear on that Victor, much will come of this. So this should be the gold, swinging decidedly into the favor of Texas A&M throughout the course of this Baron. They find another top lane tower. Yes, it's finally in their favor, but now will it grow to even bigger of a lead? I believe so.
Oh, the catch they've been wanting?
Unfortunate. That's on the Black Panda, and that's huge. They do shut him down. Now, Bicol on the way out of this one. We'll see if they can get onto him. It is not going to connect with the Dark Binding. The cone over the wall means he's out in one piece. Chuck Norris can kite as he is blue build. But that just guts so much of Texas A&M's pushing potential. They find the towers, sure, that's great. But killing Mr. Black Panda and having over a 50-second death timer, that's crippling to this Baron push. Not the game overall, just this Baron push.
Yeah, it's still on a knife's edge, and still in, technically, as far as gold is concerned, in favor, and as far as map pressure is concerned, in favor of George Mason. So they still have something to work with here. It's not over for them. They want so desperately to not have to go to a game number 5, but Texas A&M, if they're looking very strong right now, and they may be going to that, but one team fight could turn that completely around. Mr. Black Panda, he has a lot of power behind him. He also picked up the Rabadon's Death Cap, increasing that his AP by a percentage, and also giving him just flat AP. I believe it was like around 100 or maybe 80. I forget it, but it's either way. It's a substantial amount of power behind Mr. Black Panda. Now, with that said, he has no magic penetration, which could play into the favor of Firefly and Ione. Then they have the Adaptive Helm, and that is something that Mr. Black Panda needs to get around, because Adaptive Helm was so good whenever you're standing inside the ult of a Swain.
Yeah, very much the case. With this Swain pickup too, the Anivia ban just seems so much better. And just so much more heads up coming out of the way they played. Like, route, really good on this Victor. Still, there's no denying that. But I think the Anivia really would have been a great answer here, so they were wise to ban that one. Coming up the side. Texas A&M. Now they will find a tower here. That should be their last hurrah with this Baron before it expires. I doubt they'll find any more in the tower way up. Obviously, Baron has it's about got a quarter left. So just as far as tower potential goes, I think that is the sun setting. Look at how strong Ion is. He can just in the top lane push against a Baron up Boy Cold and just not worry about it.
Yeah, this is something that Texas A&M constantly has to worry about, but there's a fight.
Yeah, fight is coming down indeed. Call the Fort Scott is there.
Boy Cole's down.
Before he can channel it back the other way. And look at this. George Mason are not taking this lying down. They are pushing right on through. Now Black Panda is on the sidelines. Does get rooted up. Do they try for this one? I think they have to. He's going to come in. Alex is taking the damage on this so far. And the Zanyas is there. But Enrique should make the root happen. Route has slayed Holy Slurp on the back end. And Chuck Norris takes Route's life in return. But now Black Panda, so much sustained, so much pain from this Swain train is coming through. And they just have to be careful. I think they back it off. They take the 2 kills for the 1 death. It is Route, and their team fight is dead without him. They have to police the bot lane as well. And it's just ever so scrappy. I mean, we are not going to see a closer game for the rest of the season, I would bet. 35 minutes, but it feels like 60 the way these teams have just been slowly, respectfully duking it out.
Yeah,
this is excellent League of Legends.
Very much so. And beautiful rhyme, by the way, for a very beautiful play by Mr. Black Panda, knowing that he had the sustain and the Zanyas to work with, able to almost 1v3, 1v4 in that scenario. He is the saving grace for Texas A&M right now. If he gets caught, that means that Texas A&M cannot team fight for at least 60 seconds based on the death timers right now. Next, Drake is going to be up. This will be the final Drake of the game. No, that's actually Elder Drake. Never mind. That's Elder Dragon. Never mind. 2 apiece right now for the Drakes on both sides. Cloud, 2 Clouds on the side of George Mason, 1 Cloud, 1 Ocean on the side of Texas A&M. But regardless, still get that amplified team fight presence with that true damage. That's something that both these teams absolutely need right now.
Yeah, but look at this Ion.
Death Rush?
Split push pressure top. I think what's going on right now is, oh boy, if they catch Alex here, this is absolutely the Elder Drake gone out and away. Oh, that's big. Okay, so now actually this buys a lot of time for Texas A&M to actually send somebody back to deal with the top lane push, because Ion took a long time to get up there. He's not going to go back. He's going to find that second tower, and they're just going to trade it. They'll be okay with that. It's inner for inner, but now with Boy Cold there, this is going to stop his push for that inhibitor. That was what he wanted. He wanted to get up there, take that inhibitor while the rest of the team was
Banner come in.
Elder Drake. Yeah, I mean, he's in good shape to keep pushing this one out. The problem is, now Alex is not going to help the rest of the team, and so if anything bad happens, it could be absolutely devastating. Look, Ion's just ignoring this. He just wants the tower, and he knows it. The more time his team can buy, the better position
oh my
he
God.
is in. And he's just chewing through it. The tower, he doesn't care. It'll take him to half health. Doesn't matter. That's an exposed inhibitor now. The potential rotation is there. Route could go down. Do they take back?
Oh, there's the dragon pressure off.
The answer is yes, but Enrique keeps walking forward. Chuck Norris, not too worried about it. The inhibitor
Ion's still going.
Ion, I think he's going to get this one. There will be no one back in time. They did send back somebody, but the back was canceled, and so look at that. The inhibitor's down. Ion knew what he was doing. He pinged this out while we were still talking about Elder Drakes, and he does find it. There's still so much time between Route and Enrique. 40 seconds to be precise. 30 now for Enrique. But Lord, do they lose their own inhibitor to do it? Because now Ion cannot back. He knows he can't back. He would have to use the teleport on a time when there is no return potential available. So it's inhibitor for inhibitor traded. One in the side lane for George Mason, one down in the mid lane for Texas A&M to capitalize on. And wow, what a game 4 this is building into.
Boy Cold not letting Ion back was the huge bane to George Mason University, as that he was not able to defend into that mid lane, stop his own inhibitor from going down. So it's now, yeah, one inhibitor to one inhibitor. Top lane inhibitor, though, that is going to be pressuring into that top side. That's going to force somebody to come from and relieve pressure onto that Mountain Drake. I'm sorry, not the Mountain Drake, the Elder Drake, and to go top and have to deal with that. So that is something that Texas A&M have to deal with. Of course, the mid lane.
Around this Baron.
Yeah, there's a lot of pings. Baron's going to be up in 10 seconds, and you have to think whoever gets this may be pushed to win. This is so going back back and forth so tightly. Not one team.
You know, we talked about last Baron cementing the game. It was only oh no, Chuck Norris, he has to get out of that one. Does find it okay, but Call of the Forge God gonna pump back in, knocks up 2. That's a lot of the engage tools now from the side of A&M used up. They do not have Call the Force Guy. They do not have the Glacial
Oh,
Freezer.
God!
And that's going to be, what are you doing, Glory? Goodbye! Taken out and away, not going to be a potential threat there. And Alex hopping in with the redemption just to stay alive, keep them all healthy. That's no jungler when Elder and Baron are on the table as teamfight prizes.
That was so huge, and I think Glory went in hoping that his team would follow and give him, he'd have enough time to survive. But man, Black Panda, he's even in chunk now. This is the time. Route, he is so powerful on this Victor right now with the Void Staff, with his empowered staff as well, his Hex Tech Core, and Cerberus Embrace. He also has a Get Out of Jail Free card with the Stopwatch. This is going to be huge.
Supers in the top lane.
He's caught.
Supers in the top lane. They're going to try to find that Glory has to police these supers now, and that's bad for Boy Cold. If he does not get out of this one alive, this could definitely be the game. The Call of the Forge God means he's
oh my God!
In one piece and turns it around, but Black Panda wants in flashes for it and has the Zonius to back it up, but he's rooted on the
He's
end.
down.
That is dead. Black Panda will not be part of this fight. The supers are still pouring into 20, ignoring them because the Elder Dragon means death for this team, but the pings are coming down. Everybody wants to back off.
Keep
of this.
pressuring.
George Mason need to pressure it out. They know it, but if they misstep, it could cost them their mid lane. Keep in mind.
Oh, teleport! He's going for the end!
He's gonna try to end the game. Are you kidding me?
He's going for it!
They don't know yet. They have no idea. He's going to get at least one Nexus Tower. How long can the rest of the team
Enrique's gonna stop him.
At least Elder Drac from this. I think they can make it. There is no stop coming through, but he will get another Nexus Tower before all is said and done here. I'm almost certain of it as it's already halfway.
They got the Elder Drake. That means
oh boy,
they got both Nexus.
Oh boy, both Nexus Towers are down. He's
doing it!
Are you kidding me? Look at how fast this is going down, but his health to follow. They will find him before he ends the game, but the minions now are such a threat to both sides. As actually the Nexus Tower goes down for George Mason. This is insanely intense. Oh my God.
Clutch teleport by Ione. The only move they could have done. They cannot 5v5 Texas AMU right now. That was a huge, huge play by Ione. They attracted so much attention over to that Elder Drake, allowed the super minions to build up in that top side. Ione teleporting and taking out both Nexus turrets. He can do that again pretty soon. That inhibitor still has a couple minutes left. They could actually sneak a win here. That was insane.
This is dangerous. Look now at the waves all over. There's a huge bot lane wave. It's actually going to take a tower building now for the side of Texas A&M. There's the Baron priority as well. They got to be careful because this is that 5v5 you were talking about. The inhibitors not going to be the threat anymore as it's the last super minion maybe coming up to the top lane. So they'll shove that in. But, you know, they got to be careful with no Nexus Towers to bounce off of. Now, Panda, if he goes down here, could be in huge trouble. Route looked to find it. Doesn't have the zones of his own, but tries to get the burst back down. He's got both carries so low. But the Jan Ultimate will keep everything okay in that position. Now they're trying to move on. They're just shut down. But that was just Route. Can they find more? Black Panda so low. Alex is the target and will go down. That's not what you want if you are George Mason. 2 50-second death timers around this now Baron threat. The inhibitor spawned on the red side, so it has to be a steal because if this Baron comes through, there might not be the best answer for the side of George Mason, but they're going to concede it. I don't even know what I'm watching right now.
For how well Ione played the top split push, he actually just made a huge mistake going to that bot side. He knew they had to answer the bot side pressure, but there's still a tower down on that inhibitor, so Ione should have been in that team fight. Could have made a world of difference, and now that allowed Texas A&M to get the Baron. The Elder Drake is off of George Mason now, and now Texas A&M, they are going to go on the offensive. They're actually heading gold now with that Baron. This is so back and forth. The inhibitor is up for Texas A&M in the top side now, which means the pressure is going to be off, and that Texas A&M can go full force, not having to worry about a split push.
This is a game of slaps coming through from these guys here. I mean, both of their
slaps?
Isn't that the one where you slap each other's hands until they're just like raw and bloody?
They're taking steel chairs to each other's faces at this point.
I mean, so it's a long game of endurance.
This is a 90s WWF Attitude Era.
Yeah, okay. Just to give a little bit of context, we're sitting on 38 43 minutes. It's insane, but it's not the most insane. A little more context, and that Josh will find a way to insert WWE into just about anything.
Damn straight.
So take that with a grain of salt, if you will, ladies and gentlemen. Top lane pressure is something you absolutely have to take seriously, though. This is serious as the grave. for George Mason now, as they are just getting pressured out by all these Baron minions. Now it's trying to come online with a Swain push in that mid lane. And I think they need everybody to answer onto this guy, because that Zanya's being off cooldown means he can just do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, with very few repercussions.
He's just trying to clear with minions right now. He's not even going for Boy Cold. There's really no point in trying to kill Boy Cold. Just like there's no point in trying to kill Ion, but that's about all you can do at that point, in the position you're at for Boy Cold. So just seeing a big slapfest in the top side if you want to go back to the slapfest references, but he uses his ult, able to get his health back, and he's just back at whacking away turrets. Minions, meanwhile, split push happening because of the Baron powered minions. You have two cannon minions outside of the range of comfort of comfortable wave clear for George Mason. So these cannon minions are doing a lot of work right now.
Oh man, Ion's teleport's almost off cooldown. You have to wonder if he's going to try to port to that control ward.
Yeah, he does have that option.
Recreate a little bit of top lane magic here before too long. Has to worry about his own base, and he knows that that's getting into some trouble now. Not going to connect the Dark Binding, and they need something to get in onto Panda here. He does have the Zanya still, and that's been a classic threat thus far. Now look at the damage onto Ion. The Winion waves just keep stacking up and stacking up and stacking up. It is now trying to continue to replicate that success in the top lane for Texas A&M. They know they have that potential here. It's only a matter of knocking down that last tower, and then the game is almost certainly theirs.
Patience is key for George Mason right now to just weather the storm of this Baron. They know they're going to lose some towers.
Now they ping that control ward.
Right. They know it's there. They're conscious of it. There's a catch.
Oh boy, if they can get him before he can channel the rest of the Zanyas. No, he does channel it.
Oh!
Look at this. His health bar's low. They found Black Panda, and that is devastating. Now, Ornn will not be able to get in. That teleport is wasted. It means that Ion can effectively teleport back without being followed too severely. Now, this is very rushed, but he looks to be running towards the brush here. Will not be spotted, as he does go back to base before the teleport starts. That's the important part. The rest of his team here to clean out the mid lane. They know that this is the issue, and if they can keep those super minions on the back foot, they're in good shape. There's the teleport. Now Ezreal on the side. Chuck Norris, you have to be so careful. If you're dead here, so is the Dream, because it all goes down. But look at this. It's the flank on the
They're going to brute force it.
They don't even go for the inhibitor. They're going for the brute force down the mid lane. Are you kidding me? Will Glory fall?
Oh my God.
Glory's already dead. And now Boy Cold in some serious trouble as he is rooted up as well. He will likely go down. There's no Nexus towers to keep him safe here. Keep in mind, they went down so much earlier. Enrique finds it. Black Panda.
I think that's game.
12 seconds. Black Panda's still dead from the time at the end, and he basically had time to
6 seconds left for Black Panda.
Are you kidding
That's
me?
it!
Ladies and gentlemen, George Mason, do it! Oh my God, they finally scrape it out. 46 minutes. That is insane.
Even gold, even towers. But the macro play was all there for Ion with that teleport to that control ward, able to flank and just brute force. And even if they didn't get the Nexus there, they were going to off-balance the death timers and make sure that they could come back in 5v3 very easily. Such a nice call by George Mason.
All the pressure was on. There's not one gun against their head. There were 5 guns against their head, all cocked and loaded and ready. And they played it like a cool Western. I mean, they were just to a T. They knew their win condition. They saw through all of that pressure and still managed to come away. And they will crown themselves the victor here. That is 3-1 now over Texas A&M. George Mason will move on to the Southern Finals. They have rightly earned that spot. They have avenged last year's falter in the semifinals to Texas A&M. So now George Mason are cementing themselves as potentially the strongest in the South by taking out the #1 dogs.
Yeah.